What's up, y'all? It's a brand new day and there's more drama as usual. So, I came across another clip about the whole Kevin Hart uh, Netflix comedy roast, quote unquote, controversy and stuff. And this particular podcaster slash TikToker. His name is Deante Kyle, light skinned brother. Don't know if that rings a bell. He has like long dreads and he's always talking smack on TikTok. Like when I say smack, he be letting loose cannons on the N word with the GA on the end, not the ER. But brother was speaking facts. Like he was going in about the whole situation on how black folks basically are comedians first before they're black and so forth. But anyway, listen to what he got to say. Now, I was going to have the original clip unedited, but baby, when I say I had to cut that video down for y'all to make sure I don't get shadow banned or struck on YouTube because it was that bad. Like, when I say a homie was dropping N-bombs, I counted at least 50 times he said it in a span of 4 minutes of the video. That's too many N-bombs for a 4-minute video. So I had to literally go in there and edit it out as many times as possible so I can avoid getting any type of strike on my channel, because they will strike you, because YouTube is very sensitive. You have to be very leery of what you say now because everything is super controlled and monitored. But listen to what this brother got to say.
Now, black people are deemed too sensitive when we react to sensitive subjects.
Yeah.
Like, y'all that try to defend racism in the name of comedy are initiated through this idea of being a good sport. Oh, I'm just going to be a good sport. Therefore, you deem yourself worthy of opportunity. Because everybody that was defending this shit is just looking for an opportunity. Everybody that's defending that shit wish that they was on the couch, wish that they was invited. And they know that the only way to get invited is to sit there and show all 32 of your motherfucking teeth while they call you everything short of a nigga face. By playing along, you admit subservience. So if I put you through this and I'm disrespecting you to your face, when I do give you an opportunity, I already have you pegged as you beneath me.
Yep.
Because you let me get that off. You let me humiliate you. So I just think about this like this. In order to have Kevin Hart's money, you got to have Kevin Hart's career. If you protest the shit, if you get up, let's just say you on the couch and you offended by the joke and you defend your feelings, you'll never get an opportunity on Netflix again. Y'all know that's what it come with. And y'all want to be loud, and while the shit trending, you want to be loud and in favor of that bigotry and look that you willing to be humiliated and you willing to be subjected to racism and bigotry because you think that shit gonna get you an opportunity at Netflix. You wasn't even in the room. I always want to be anything before they be black. You're a comedian. I'm a comedian first before I'm black. I'm a Christian before I'm a comedian. And another thing we see in roll out this week, a lot of bitch before they black. They don't want you to have political power or input. They want you subservient to their oppression. They want your labor. They want your life. And they want your entertainment. And you're getting to be on the couch to be called slurs.
Wicked.
I want to ask a serious question. We're gonna bring out the definitions. Is you gonna be a clown or is you gonna be a jester? Because these people value your entertainment. And while you're in the space of entertainment, you got a choice to make. I'm going to explain this to you. So the Sambo stereotype is deeply racist, enduring caricature of a simple-minded, docile, and submissive black male, historically used to justify American slavery and Jim Crow era subjugation. Portrayed as jolly, childlike servant, the character was depicted as a lazy, yet intensely loyal, often grinning, and unintelligent. Someone taught me about this in the 3rd grade. All that class clowning?
Yeah.
Are you going to be a jester or a clown? target of mockery for the jester is the audience and the king. The target of mockery for a clown, themselves. The interaction for a jester is usually intellectual and social. The interaction for a clown is physical and performative. So are you going to be a jester or a clown? A lot of an adjective before being black. Or they put a title before being black. So whether they be Christian before black, comedian before black, or rich before black, or athlete before black, a lot of y'all put that before being black, and that's why nothing gets done for black people. Because if you rich before you black, then everything you do is gonna benefit rich people. If you're a comedian before you black, then everything you do is gonna benefit comedy. If you're a Christian before you black, then everything you do is gonna benefit religion. And black people are gonna come second. And then we wonder why we in the situation we in, because nobody wants to put being black first. Because that scare white folks. Niggas don't want to scare white folks.
Hoo-wee, here we go again with part 2 of the Kevin Hart saga and the controversy. That was a lot to take in. It was a lot to unload. I told y'all, dude ate him to pieces and left no crumbs. Shout out again to Deante Kyle, the TikToker that was talking about all of this stuff. I really enjoyed all of the valid points he hit on and doing all the comparisons and stuff. But brother, for the love of God, censor yourself. God, he dropped a lot of N-bombs. Oh my God. Y'all have no idea the struggle of counting all of them and taking them out the video. But anyway, I wrote down some of the very important parts that he said. And this is what grabbed my attention very fast. So when he first started in the video, he said black people are deemed too sensitive when we react to sensitive subjects. Very true. Black people that try to defend racism in the name of comedy, are initiated in this idea of being a good sport. I agree. Because nobody wants to defend that. Why? Why would they defend that? They're all getting paid for comedy. Everybody that was defending this BS was looking for an opportunity. Exactly. Ding, ding, ding. They all were. They're all desperate. Then he says, in order to get invited, you got to show all 32 of your teeth and let them humiliate you by calling you everything short of an N-word to your face. I believe it. I can see it. Then he goes on and says, by playing along, you admit subservience. By disrespecting you to your face, I already have you pegged because you're beneath me. Basically saying that because you kneeled down, you didn't fight back, and you allowed the disrespect to continue in your own face, now they have the upper hand and they have control of you and everything above you. Then he goes on and says, in order to have Kevin Hart's money, you got to have Kevin Hart's career. That was a big one. Then he says, if you protested and you defend your feelings, you will never get an opportunity at Netflix again. Absolutely. Why do you think a lot of these jigaboos tap dance for massa? They tap dancing for a check. That's why. You don't see none of these people speaking out on podcasts about it. You don't see none of these people defending comedy over it. None of them. They're all silent because they're getting that check. And I took more notes. And he says, and while this BS is trending, y'all want to be loud in favor of that bigotry and know that you're willing to be humiliated. You're willing to be subjected to racism and bigotry because you think that BS is going to get you an opportunity at Netflix, and it's not. And I totally agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Because you know what? What's really funny? What people don't tell you, especially in the film business and production business, you got to kiss a lot of ass to climb up that ladder. It doesn't matter how much work you put in. It doesn't matter how much time you've been there. If you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, sometimes you gotta just take it to get to the next level. Unfortunately, that's how the Hollywood works. And then he says, N-words want to be anything before they be black. I'm a comedian first before I'm black. Absolutely. Absolutely, because they do. They will never be black before they're a title. I'm going to tell you that right now. Why? Because massa says, then massa goes. If you don't listen to massa, you get no check. That's how this business works. Sadly, but it's true. Then he goes on and says, I'm a Christian before I'm a comedian. Ooh. Oh, yeah. They be screaming to the mountaintops about that. I've heard that statement before. This is nothing new. Then he says, a lot of N-words are rich before they black. They don't want you to have political power or input. They want you subservient to their oppression. They want your labor. They want your life. And they want your entertainment. Ooh, that's deep. Now, just looking at that statement, I thought to myself, you know what? He's onto something. You don't hear too many podcasters talking about this. Like everyone's, putting in their 2 cents about, the whole controversy with Kevin Hart, but no one's digging in deeper than what it is. This is really deep rooted. You can tell, like, this guy took the time out of his busy schedule to break down and basically create analogies of what's happening right before our very own eyes. And people don't even realize it because they're too blinded by the limelight and the fame and the celebrity and the money and so forth. And then he goes on and says, and you N-words are fighting to be on the couch to be called slurs. Woo! Child, if it ain't the kettle calling the pot black, he hit it right on the money when he said that. Because they are fighting to be on that couch. You know why they're fighting to be on that couch? Because people want to be seen. People want status. And the minute they think they get status, they get more fame, more power, more freedom. And that's not even true. You're still a slave to the system. You don't realize it. Then he goes on and says, the Sambo stereotype. Now that part you might have not paid attention to the most, but that was the most important piece of this conversation. He goes on and says, Sambo stereotype is deeply racist. Enduring caricature is a simple-minded, docile, and submissive black male, historically used to justify American slavery and Jim Crow era subjugation. This brother is educated. I know he definitely either one, went to an HBCU, or two, he's just well educated and just above the times. He's way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. He's not one of those random podcasters that just talks, shit just to be shooting the shit. He's one of these people that actually looks further into what's wrong with society, then breaks it down, then builds it back up and tells you how to fix it. He's one of them. Yeah, this dude, he kind of gives me Malcolm X vibes. I ain't gonna lie. He does. I really like this guy. And then I got another page. Forgive me, I got a lot of notes, y'all. Bear with me. He says, portrayed as jolly, he's talking about the Sambo stereotype still. Childlike servant, the character was depicted as a lazy, yet intensely loyal, often grinning and unintelligent. Now, that statement right there got my attention, because you know why? This is very common in corporate, not just Hollywood. It's everywhere. If you're in school, if you're in college, or you're, at your workplace, wherever, it's a real thing in the community, and people just don't talk about it. The sad reality is that when white folks see us, majority of them feel like we are lazy, we are unintelligent, we don't have, what it takes to move on to the next level or to lead the next person. And it sucks because it's not even true. We're very intelligent, we're very talented, we are very motivated people. But with the stigma and this type of stereotype that's portrayed among us, this is the why we get the treatment we get. Because a lot of people are too scary to stand up for each other and defend themselves. Point blank, period. That's all it is. Then this other statement, he says, are you going to be a jester or a clown? Target of mockery for the jester is the audience and the king. Interesting. And then he says the target of mockery for a clown is themselves. Now that was a twist. That was a plot twist. That statement had me really into my brain cells thinking like, dang, I didn't even think of it that way. The target of the mockery for a clown is themselves. The interaction for a jester is usually intellectual and social. So in other words, a clown is dumb, a jester is smart. Then he says, the interaction for a clown is physical and performative. So are you going to be a jester or are you going to be a clown? Ooh, performative. That word right there is strong. When I say that some of these black people I've encountered personally in my life are very performative, people I've met in passing, just in general, people even I grew up with at home, performative. You have a lot of people who are really performative, and it shows. A prime example of this, people are performative because they want to get that promotion. People are performative because they want to be liked. People are performative because they want to be in that elite circle or that elite status. And they will do just about anything to get into it. That's the craziest part of it all. People are so desperate and so hungry for fame and money, they'll do anything to get to it. And this is why you have to be careful with certain people and certain spaces and certain circles that you encounter, because you just don't know what you're getting into. You don't know what kind of people they are. You don't know what kind of spaces you're getting into. That's why a lot of people in Hollywood do all these crazy rituals and stuff and spells, black magic, whatever. It's scary out there. It's very scary. And then the other pieces I wrote, a lot of N-words, put an adjective before being black, or they put a title before being black, and that's why nothing gets done for black people. Ooh. Child, that was a whole word. I'm going to read this too again in case you didn't get what I said. A lot of N-words. Put an adjective before being black, or they put a title before being black. And that's why nothing gets done for black people. Can the church get an amen? Because if he ain't speaking nothing but facts. Nothing but facts there. And then the very last statement at the end of the video, if you paid attention, this is what really got me. He said nobody wants to put being black first, because that will scare white folks. Child, don't even get me started. Hunty, let me tell you, when you hear stuff like that, it just makes you think of slavery. It makes you think of Jim Crow. You know, with all these statements I wrote down as he was talking, it had me thinking about the history. Not just the bigotry, but just knowing how far behind we really are as Black people in general. We are so far behind, y'all. It's not even funny. And nobody wants to admit it. They just want to play along and giggle, giggle, smile, smile, and think everything's okay and it's peachy keen and gravy until they realize they're all alone and they're all by themselves and nobody's there to pick them up and help them. But yeah, the brother hit on a lot of things that really opened me up. And I was just like, dang, I didn't even think of it like this. I thought maybe, you know, it's just another tap dancing, you know, little jigaboo who just wants to make himself known, aka, you know, Kevin Hart. And he just wants the attention. But it's way more than that. It's way more than coonery. It's way more than that. And it's very deeply rooted, you know, with the racism and stuff. And we don't even often realize it until someone talks about it like this guy did and puts it in our faces. And then you're like, oh, snap. I didn't even realize it until he spoke on it. But yeah, it's a lot of deep conversations going on about it. This is probably going to be the last video I'm talking about the Kevin Hart controversies. I'm sick and tired of it personally. I don't care anymore. But I just wanted to share this specific clip with you guys because I thought it was, you know, a much needed conversation that a lot of people don't talk about. But y'all let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments. How do y'all feel about what the guy said about all of the controversy and the comparisons and stuff with the whole Sambo stereotype? Do y'all agree or do y'all disagree? Put your thoughts below. All right, I'll holler at y'all.